All right, guys, so in today's video, I want to take a moment and talk about the part that no one likes to talk about, and that's the withdrawal symptoms. So many times when it comes to quitting drugs and sobriety, everyone just wants to talk about, yeah, you're going to quit, you're going to feel better, your relationships are going to improve, you're going to make more money, you're going to have better physical health. And although most of that is going to be true in 99% of cases, that happens after experiencing some of the discomfort and potential pain that's associated with cannabis withdrawal, nicotine withdrawal, alcohol withdrawal, whatever the substance may be, okay? If you don't go into experiencing the withdrawal symptoms with the correct perspective and the right framing, withdrawal is going to become an unnecessarily more painful experience than it needs to be. So in today's video, I'm going to provide you with 4 or 5 reframes to help you get through the withdrawal symptoms, whether this is your first time quitting or your 100th time quitting. Now, as a real quick disclaimer before we dive into things, some substances like alcohol, Xanax, stuff like that may require a medical detox because the withdrawal symptoms can, in those cases, be life-threatening, okay? And if that's something you need help with, I'm going to tell you how to get help with that, all right? Now, if you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank, and we offer a science-backed method that has a 98% client success rate at helping people quit nicotine, cannabis, and other substances in as little as 48 hours privately, and you can do it without disrupting your public life image and without relapse. This method is designed specifically for high-level professionals and high-performing individuals. I put a link in the video description and the pinned comment where you can learn more about that. We also recently teamed up with a medical physician who can help provide medicated at-home detox for those of you guys who need a medically assisted detox at home that don't want to do it at a clinic or at a rehab or something like that, okay? One of the first things you're going to want to understand before we dive into this conversation about withdrawal is that experiencing pain is a fixed cost of being alive. Just the fact that I'm alive means I'm going to experience pain, because you can't experience pleasure, you can't experience joy without also experiencing pain. This is a fixed cost of being alive. It's inevitable. And so many times people will try and run from the thing that's painful, trying to avoid pain, trying to navigate pain, when in some instances, it's inevitable that you're going to experience it because you are alive. If you didn't experience pain, that would mean that you have ceased to exist, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing that I want you to keep in mind before I share these 4 or 5 tips with you is that addiction, active substance use, is painful. It is a painful experience. In some instances for people, it's a traumatic experience. Withdrawal is also painful, but the pain of withdrawal has purpose. The pain that you're putting yourself through in active substance use has no purpose. The pain of withdrawal has a paycheck. It has a payout at the end of the day. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind as an overbearing talking point throughout today's video. Now, 4 reframes for you as you go through withdrawal symptoms. Reframe number 1 is that the withdrawal symptoms exist to remind you to never go back. We experience pain for a reason. And sometimes that experience of pain is to be a reminder to not partake in that decision-making or that behavior again. If I were to touch a hot stove, my hand would get burned. I would experience pain. But that pain is happening. It's a learning experience to make sure that I don't touch a hot stove again and eventually give myself 3rd-degree burns. So although I didn't want to experience the pain, it was uncomfortable when I touched the hot stove, I learned from it, and that pain is going to prevent me from potentially frying my entire hand in the oven in the future, right? You burn yourself once on a hot stove, you're going to pretty much learn not to do it again. This is very similar to the pain of withdrawal symptoms. It's your body signaling you to not put yourself through these choices again. So now we're taking withdrawal, a painful experience, and we're reframing it as a learning experience. And anytime you learn something, that experience was not for waste. It was not useless. There was value to it. Reframe number 2. Withdrawal shows you what that substance was doing to your body, right? The more intense withdrawal symptoms you have, It's your body's way of showing you the damage that it was experiencing throughout active substance use. Now, you weren't feeling that because you were under the influence of the substance. You weren't giving your body a chance to detox. You weren't giving your brain a chance to rewire and lay down new neural pathways. So you didn't feel that pain acutely while you were experiencing the drug. When you quit, your body is screaming at you, trying to show you exactly how damaging this substance was to you. And I would highly recommend that you listen to your body. You pay attention to what it's trying to show you. Reframe number 3, and this one's incredibly powerful. Maybe you own a business, maybe you're a parent and you got kids at home, and maybe there's days where you wake up and you don't feel like doing anything, right? You don't feel like going to work, you don't feel like playing with the kids, you don't feel like doing stuff. Going through the experience of withdrawal and learning to perform, learning to show up, indifferent of how you feel, indifferent of your motivation, indifferent of how you feel physically and psychologically, is an incredibly valuable skill that can get you significantly ahead in life. When I was going through withdrawal as a business owner, as someone who at that time had a significant relationship that ended, but now, I'm happily married and have kids, it's fine. I learned a lot. I learned that just because I had nicotine cravings, just because I had some insomnia from cannabis, it didn't mean that my world was going to be put on pause. So I learned by going through active withdrawal how to keep showing up day in and day out, accomplishing the things that I needed to accomplish, irrelevant of how I felt. And that has been a game changer for me when it comes to parenting my children, a game changer for me when it comes to growing my business and showing up day in and day out for my employees, for my clients that we work with one-on-one. It has completely changed my perspective on life. And I don't know any other experience that would have given me that change in perspective like withdrawal did. Reframe number 4 is that there's going to be an end to the withdrawal symptoms. So withdrawal eventually is going to end. Addiction and the pain that you experience throughout active addiction may not have a clear end in sight, but withdrawal does. You're going to go through the detox process. Your brain is going to rewire and relearn and lay down new pathways. You're going to start making dopamine and serotonin and all those neurotransmitters again. And there's a payout to getting through the withdrawal, right? The payout is better relationships, better finances, better physical health, stronger mental health, all the good things that people experience after they overcome a substance use disorder. The pain that you experience during active addiction has no end in sight as long as you continue consuming that substance. In fact, the consequences of the pain in active substance use is only more pain. Deeper damage to the relationships, more damage to the physical health and mental health, right? More financial damage and disruption to your professional career. There's no paycheck at the end of the day waiting for you. With withdrawal and that pain, there's a payout, there's a paycheck at the end of that experience. And my last bonus reframe, which I've shared several times on this channel, is that withdrawal is the death of the addiction. Withdrawal is a signal that your body's detoxing, rebalancing, and rewiring. So it's something that should be celebrated, not something that you should try to run from. Now, if you found today's video helpful, I want you to follow me right into the next video where you can actually see me talking to a client live who called into one of our live calls that I had been working with, where we helped them work through some of the challenges that they were facing while quitting cannabis. I'll see you guys right in that next video.